Happy New Year 2024, Hoops fans. Hey there, U.S. Hoops Nation. This is your go-to channel, Tips and Streams, coming at you with a slam dunk of a New Year's message. As we step into 2024, I want to send out a huge thank you to each and every one of you who have been part of our journey. Your support, comments, and shares have been the MVP of our channel. This year, we're doubling down on our NBA game predictions, bringing you more in-depth analysis, insider tips, and maybe a few surprises along the way. So keep your game faces on. Remember, every game is a story, and we're here to tell it. Here's to a year of epic matchups, buzzer beaters, and all the basketball magic you can handle. Cheers to you, our amazing viewers and subscribers. May 2024 be a year of wins, both on and off the court. Stay tuned, stay hyped, and let's make this year the best one yet. Your number one NBA prediction channel, Tips and Streams. Let's start with today's NBA game predictions. Today we have 8 games. The first today's prediction is for matchup between Minnesota Timberwolves and New York Knicks. The basketball scene sizzles at Madison Square Garden, where the Minnesota Timberwolves, flaunting a remarkable 24-7 record, are set to clash with the New York Knicks, who are hanging in there with a 17-15 tally. Fresh off a win against the Lakers, the Timberwolves are in stellar shape, propelled by Anthony Edwards' standout plays. Yet, they're down one key player, Jalen Clark, sidelined by an Achilles setback. The Knicks, meanwhile, are grappling with their own hurdles, with Mitchell Robinson and Quentin Grimes out of action, and R.J. Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley now Raptors, after a significant trade that brought in OG Anunoby, Precious Achiuwa, and Malachi Flynn, the latter likely missing the Timberwolves showdown. Diving into the stats, the Timberwolves have had the upper hand in recent Madison Square Garden showdowns, snagging 4 wins out of 5 against the Knicks. They boast better season averages with 113.43 points per game, surpassing the Knicks' 115.0, a superior field goal rate of 48.54% against the Knicks' 46.47%, and a slight edge in three-pointers at 38.33% versus the Knicks' 37.22%. However, the Knicks dominate in rebounds, averaging 45.13 over the Timberwolves' 44.33, and are neck and neck in assists with 23.65 to the Timberwolves' 25.93. Given these stats and current form, the Timberwolves seem to have the statistical upper hand, particularly in offensive efficiency. Their consistent scoring and higher field goal percentage are significant pluses. Moreover, their recent track record in New York could give them a mental boost. The Knicks, although bolstered by the home court vibe, face key rotational players trade and injury woes that might hamper their game. Their rebounding prowess is a plus, but they'll need to amp up their offense to rival the Timberwolves' scoring might. The Timberwolves are obviously the top dogs in this showdown, but it's a head-scratcher why they're not leading the pack by a wider spread. They're bringing a killer combo of slick efficiency, a hot streak, and a solid history of dominating the New York court. I'm betting on the Wolves to slam dunk this game and breeze past the 1.5-point line. But first, I'm laying my chips on the total score, playing it coy, staying below the 225 total points. The next prediction is for the match between Cleveland Cavaliers and Toronto Raptors. Tonight's epic showdown on the hardwood features a clash of titans as the Cleveland Cavaliers go head-to-head with the Toronto Raptors. The Cavaliers, boasting a robust 18-14 record, are lighting up the scoreboard with an impressive average of 112.03 points per game. They're sinking baskets with a 24% shooting accuracy and hitting the mark from downtown with a 34.62% three-point rate. Their game is further amplified by their strong rebounding, averaging 44.06, coupled with slick passing, leading to an average of 26.25 assists per game. Yet, they hit the court tonight with a significant setback: the absence of their key playmakers Darius Garland and Evan Mobley, and the uncertain status of Ty Jerome. On the flip side, the Raptors, though trailing with a 12-20 record, are slightly outpacing the Cavaliers in scoring, netting an average of 113.23 points per game. Their field goal accuracy is a smidge higher at 47.46%, although their three-point game trails a bit at 34.26%. They're edging out the Cavs in the rebound game, pulling down an average of 44.97 and leading in assists with 29.58 per game. R.J. Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley aren't on the Raptors' injury report, so I would assume that they will make their Toronto debut on Monday evening. The Raptors' injury list stay only with one name, Christian Coloco, who was sidelined. Historically, when these two teams battle it out, the scales tip in favor of the Raptors, especially on their home turf. The Cavaliers have historically found it tough to triumph on the Raptors' court, a trend that might persist given their current injury concerns and the Raptors' formidable home record. Looking at recent performances, the Cavaliers have shown promise with a strong 5-2 record in their last 7 games, both against the spread and straight up. Yet, their track record against the Raptors, particularly in Toronto, leaves much to be desired. The Raptors, despite recent hiccups, have consistently held sway over the Cavaliers in their home court. Taking into account all these factors, the Cavaliers' stronger overall record but critical player absences, the Raptors' advantage of playing at home, and past performances, the scales lean towards a Raptors triumph. They hold the home court advantage, boast a healthier team, and have historically outperformed the Cavaliers in Toronto. The smart money is on the Raptors swooshing to victory, but hold your horses, they've just traded OG Anunoby, their third highest scorer. That means there's a bit of a shake-up on the court, and Barrett and Quickly might need more than a single game to find their rhythm in the Raptors playbook. But hey, full disclosure, my bet on the Raptors isn't just about the stats. I've got a personal cheers section for Coach Rajakovic. He's a good buddy of mine, so I'm rooting for his squad to jump over that 1.5-point hurdle. It's your call whether to follow my lead or not. The next prediction is for the match between Detroit Pistons and Houston Rockets. Tonight's basketball showdown is heating up with the Detroit Pistons taking on the Houston Rockets. We're in for a captivating clash as both squads hit the hardwood with their own set of strengths and challenges. Let's dive into the play-by-play. The Pistons, battling through a tough season at 329, are the underdogs in this matchup. Scoring an average of 109.68 points per game, they're putting up decent numbers, but their field goal and three-point percentages, sitting at 46.52% and 33.48% respectively, show some shooting struggles. Their rebound game, averaging 43.68, raises some eyebrows, particularly with Monty Morris and Isaiah Stewart on the bench. Yet, Detroit's knack for beating the spread, in recent face-offs with Houston, especially away, going 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 games in Houston, is a stat that can't be ignored. Flipping to the Rockets, who are holding a balanced 15-15 record, they bring a bit more spark to the court. They're averaging 112.30 points per game, edging out Detroit's offense. Their field goal percentage is neck and neck with the Pistons at 46.29%, but they're shooting threes better at 36.33%. Houston's rebounding is also stronger at an average of 45.20 per game. However, their track record against the spread, particularly at home against Detroit, raises some red flags, being 0-5 against the spread in their last 5 home games against the Pistons. Looking at the recent matchups in Houston, the Pistons have shown some serious grit, taking 3 out of the last 6 games and covering the spread in all 6. This trend suggests that Detroit has a knack for stepping up their game in Houston. Injuries are key players here. Detroit's absence of Morris and Stewart could shake their performance, while Houston's injury roster, including a doubtful Jabari Smith and an out Dillon Brooks, might impact their depth and strategy. The bookmakers initially had the Pistons as an 8-point underdog, with the total points line starting at 223.5, later bumped up to 227.5. Considering Detroit's grim overall record but solid performance against the spread in Houston, and the Rockets' even record but weak against the spread showing at home against Detroit, the betting lines are quite the enigma. Here's the scoop from the court. Gear up for a game that's set to defy the stat sheets. The Pistons, even with their ups and downs, have a solid record of outmaneuvering the spread when they face off against the Rockets in Houston. The Rockets, steadier but not exactly showstoppers, haven't quite capitalized on their home court advantage against the Motor City squad. Switching gears to defense, or rather the lack thereof, the Pistons are on shaky ground. In their last 5 matchups, they've been conceding a hefty 120 points per 100 possessions, though they're managing to net 114.1 themselves. The Rockets are in a similar boat, giving up 115.9 points, but pocketing 116.1 per 100 possessions. This sets the stage for a scoreboard that's likely to be lighting up nonstop. Wrapping it up, here's my game plan. The Pistons' history of beating the spread in Houston and the Rockets' lukewarm home performance against Detroit can't be ignored. So, not only am I backing the Pistons to eclipse the spread, but I'm also laying my bets on the total score soaring past 226.5. The next prediction is for the match between Indiana Pacers and Milwaukee Bucks. Tonight's basketball clash features the Indiana Pacers squaring off against the Milwaukee Bucks in a game brimming with suspense and potential. The Pacers, boasting a respectable 17-15 record, have been lighting up the scoreboard, averaging a whopping 125.58 points per game. Their shooting is on point, with a field goal percentage at a lofty 50.21%, and they're also hitting 38.02% of their shots from downtown. However, they lag behind the Bucks in the rebounding game, pulling down an average of 39. 94 rebounds compared to Milwaukee's more impressive 44.53. Indiana's recent form is a mix of highs and lows. They've beaten the spread in 4 of their last 6 games, but their track record in Milwaukee is less stellar, with only 2 wins in their last 10 visits. The Bucks, on the other hand, are a powerhouse with a 24-8 record. Their scoring almost matches Indiana's, averaging 124.97 points per game. They're nearly identical in field goal percentage at 50.14%, and they outshine the Pacers slightly in three-point accuracy with a 38.39% success rate. Milwaukee's recent performance is formidable, going 9-1 in their last 10 games and unbeaten at home in their last 6. Injuries might tip the scales in this matchup. The Pacers might miss Bruce Brown, a blow to their lineup, while the Bucks will be without Jay Crowder but have shown they can handle absences well. Historically, the Bucks have had the upper hand in Milwaukee, winning and covering the spread in 4 of the last 6 home games against Indiana. Their superior rebounding and home advantage make them favorites tonight. The Pacers have traditionally struggled in January with a concerning 1-10 record in their last 11 January games. Considering the Bucks' overall efficiency and dominance at home, they seem poised to take the win. The betting odds have been fluctuating, with the Pacers currently at a 6.5-point disadvantage. A high-scoring affair is expected, with the total points line set at 259.5. The Bucks have struggled against teams like the Atlanta Hawks, Washington Wizards, and the Pacers, who play a fast-paced game. They've had mixed results in these matchups, including a close win against the Wizards and mixed outcomes against the Pacers. All things considered, the Bucks appear to be the safer bet tonight. They have a statistical advantage, especially in rebounding and playing on their home court, which could lead them to victory and likely cover the spread against the Pacers. My money's on the Milwaukee Bucks at -6. The next prediction is for the match between Charlotte Hornets and Denver Nuggets. As we delve deeper into the basketball season, the excitement builds for an upcoming showdown in Denver, featuring the Charlotte Hornets against the Denver Nuggets. The Hornets, grappling with a challenging 7-23 record, are set to face off against the strong Nuggets, who have an impressive 23-11 record. A closer look at recent performances reveals Charlotte's struggle, particularly in away games where they have faced a series of 7 losses. Despite these challenges, they have shown some resilience, especially in their recent games against Denver, holding a 4-2 record. However, the absence of key players like Gordon Hayward and LaMelo Ball due to injuries has weakened their offense. The uncertainty about Mark Williams' status adds to their difficulties. Meanwhile, Denver comes into this game with strong momentum, winning 6 of their last 7 matches. Their home advantage is significant, as shown by their 5-1 record in recent home games against the Hornets. The Nuggets, even without Aaron Gordon, have a depth and home game performance that gives them a notable edge. Statistically, Denver surpasses Charlotte in nearly every department. The Nuggets' average of 115.26 points per game overshadows the Hornets' 110.57, highlighting their offensive efficiency. This superiority is further evident in Denver's higher field goal percentage, 48.99%, compared to Charlotte's 46.71%, and their better three-point shooting, 37.72%, versus Charlotte's 35.86%. Denver also leads in rebounds, averaging 44.59 per game, and assists with 29.74 per game, indicating more effective teamwork. Looking at the history of matchups between these two teams, Denver has often had the upper hand over Charlotte. Although the Hornets have managed to beat the spread in half of their last 10 encounters, they've only achieved 1 victory. Their track record in Denver is even more challenging, with just 1 win and 2 covers in the spread in their last 5 visits. The oddsmakers initially placed the Hornets as a 14-point underdog, and the total points line moved from an opening of 229.5 to 226.5. In summary, considering the current form, team statistics, history of matchups, and the impact of player injuries, the Denver Nuggets seem well positioned to not only win, but also cover the spread. Their superior scoring ability, defensive strength, and home court advantage should enable them to comfortably handle a Charlotte team struggling with the absence of key players and a weak road performance. My prediction is a win for the Denver Nuggets with a margin of -14. The next prediction is for the match between Portland Trail Blazers and Phoenix Suns. In the basketball universe, the Portland Trail Blazers are in a bit of a jam with a tally of 9 victories against 22 defeats. They're navigating through a tough season, banking on their younger talent following the exit of some pivotal players from the previous season. Their future forward strategy has them stationed at the bottom of the Western Conference, but they've shown flashes of brilliance, like their recent win over the San Antonio Spurs, proving they can spring a surprise on any night. On the flip side, the Phoenix Suns are holding their ground in the Western Conference's middle tier, boasting a 17-win, 15-loss record. Riding the wave of a recent triumph over the Charlotte Hornets, they're finding their groove, particularly after their last season's playoff journey ended in the Western Conference semifinals. With stars like Devin Booker, predicted to drop 30 points, 5 rebounds, and 8 assists in the upcoming game, they're a solid blend of seasoned skill and raw talent. Stat-wise, the Trailblazers are scoring an average of 109.42 points per game, with a field goal success rate of 43. 92% and a three-pointer hit rate of 35.82%. They're snagging about 41.77 rebounds and dishing out 22.55 assists per game. Respectable, but the Suns outshine them with an average of 115.55 points per game, a field goal accuracy of 47.78%, and a three-pointer success of 37.49%. Phoenix also tops in rebounds and assists with 43.97 and 26.35 per game, respectively. Looking at recent face-offs, the Suns have the upper hand, especially on their home court. Of the last 6 Phoenix hosted games against the Trailblazers, Portland has clinched just 1 win and beat the point spread twice. Yet, the Trailblazers have been showing better form against the point spread lately. Injuries are crucial too. The Trailblazers are sweating over the fitness of key players like DeAndre Ayton, Anthony Simons, and Shaedon Sharpe. With Robert Williams out for the season, the Suns will miss Damian Lee. These absences could notably affect Portland's offensive and defensive game. Also crucial is the Suns' performance in back-to-back games. They've shown resilience, winning 3 out of 4 such encounters this season, which might sway this match in their favor. So the prediction tilts towards the Suns clinching this one with home turf advantage and stronger stats. But considering the Trailblazers' recent performance against the spread and their young squad's potential, they could stay within the plus 11.5 point spread. In essence, while the Suns seem poised to take the win, the Trailblazers might just have the grit to keep it a tighter contest than expected. It's shaping up to be an enthralling clash of experience versus potential, where the seasoned pros meet the up-and-comers. My money's on the Trailblazers with the plus 11.5. The next prediction is for the match between Dallas Mavericks and Utah Jazz. Tonight's showdown is more than just a game. It's a basketball ballet between the Dallas Mavericks, flaunting a solid 19-14 record, and the Utah Jazz, trailing slightly at 14-19. The Mavericks, known for their eagle-eyed sharpshooting, are boasting a killer field goal average of 46.90%, outshooting the Jazz's 45.61%. Their prowess extends beyond the arc too, sinking threes at 36.70%, narrowly outdoing Utah's 35.56%. But the Jazz aren't slacking in the rebound game, snagging an average of 46.06 boards per game, outdoing Dallas's 42.09. When it comes to scoring, Dallas is bringing the heat, averaging a hefty 118.75 points per game, with Utah trailing but not far behind at 113.28. Assists are another battleground, with the Mavericks dishing out 25.22 per game, just a hair above Utah's 25.22. These stats are crucial, considering Dallas's hot streak of going 4-1 against the spread in their recent 5 and dominating Utah in their past face-offs, with a whopping 12-4 against the spread in their last 16 games. Utah's recent form, however, is a force to be reckoned with. They've been crushing it with a 5-0 run against the spread in their last 5 games and a solid 4-1 straight up. Playing on their turf, they've been nearly unbeatable, rocking a 9-1 against the spread record in their recent home games. The history in Salt Lake City tells its own tale. Of their last 5 meetups there, the Mavericks have clinched 3 wins, covering the spread just as many times. Their current momentum and past victories give them a slight upper hand. Injuries could be the game changer tonight. The Mavericks might be hitting the court without aces like Seth Curry, Dante Exum, and possibly Luka Doncic, while Kyrie Irving and Maxi Kleber are already out. The Jazz, in contrast, are in full force. This mismatch could tilt the scales, especially if Doncic sits out. If Doncic hits the hardwood, my money is on the Mavericks to take the win and beat the spread. Without him, the Jazz's odds shoot up, given their stellar home record and Dallas's injury list. Expect an offensive fireworks show, with Dallas scoring 122.1 points per 100 possessions and Utah close behind at 115.2 points per 100 possessions at home. Dallas's defense, allowing 114.2 points per 100 possessions in their last 5, might have a tough time containing Utah's home court attack. In a nutshell, this game's fate swings on the Mavericks' injury report, but with both teams' high-scoring tendencies, I'm betting the total points will soar past the 244.5 line. The last prediction for today is for the matchup between Miami Heat and Los Angeles Clippers. The Miami Heat, with a decent 19-13 record, are gearing up to clash with the LA Clippers, who are slightly ahead at 19-12. This face-off is looking like a showdown between 2 evenly matched hoop squads, both showing solid hustle this season. Zooming in on the key ballers, Bam Adebayo of the Heat has been tearing it up, especially with his recent 28-point, 16-rebound explosion. The Heat have been on fire, averaging 113.3 points per game and shooting 47.2% from the field. Their three-point game is on point too, hitting 39.0%. Defensively, Miami's holding teams to 111.7 points per game and pressuring them into 14.3 turnovers per game. The Clippers, meanwhile, flexed their muscles in a recent triumph over the Grizzlies, wrapping up at 117-106. They've been dynamite on both ends of the court, with a sharp shooting rate of 49.4% last game and a standout performance on the defensive boards. Their home court mojo has been strong, a key factor in this upcoming clash. Trend-wise, the Heat are 4-1 against the spread in their recent 5, but have historically stumbled against the Clippers, going 2-7 against the spread in their last 9 matchups. The Clippers, sporting an 8-4 record against the spread in their last dozen games, boast a solid home record against the Heat, standing 13-6 straight up in their last 19 home games against Miami. Injury reports are pivotal here. The Heat are nursing key injuries with Jimmy Butler, Haywood Highsmith, and Caleb Martin out, while Kyle Lowry and Josh Richardson are up in the air. The Clippers have Kawhi Leonard as a maybe and Mason Plumlee out indefinitely. Looking at the stats, recent performances, and injury lists, the scales seem to tip towards the Clippers. Their marginally superior record, home court advantage, and the Heat's injury woes give them the upper hand. However, count the Heat out at your peril. They've shown resilience in the face of injury setbacks before. The Heat rarely play as the underdog, let alone with an 8-point disadvantage. My money's on the Heat to beat the 8-point spread.